How's it going, guys, and welcome to another gloomy day out here in Northern California. In today's video, I'm going to be going through the herd, and there are two cows that I have in mind that need to go down to the auction. Their time on the ranch is done, and after I get them caught up in the little working corral, we can show them to you, and I'll talk a little bit about why. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. Now, if it seems like we just took Cull cows not that long ago, it's because we did. The load that I took earlier, I think in late summer, I got rid of them because they weren't bred and they weren't going to have a calf this year. And by that time, I realized it, so it was time for them to go. The two girls that are going today did have calves this year, but they still need to be culled out of the herd. And once I get them caught in the little corral, we can talk about why that is. I've got just a small group of cows locked up in the corral here, which will make my job a little bit easier when it comes time to sort. And the way I did that was I just kind of sorted a few back out into the field while I was closing the gate, which ended up working out good. You never know. A plan like that can backfire on you pretty quick. So the two cows that I'm looking for are number 38 and number 23. And I think I see 23 over here. So this is her right here. The problem with catching these older cows is they know all my tricks. And I'm pretty sure that they knew when I threw some hay out here for them, not at their normal feeding time, that I was up to something. So she's a little bit leery of me, which is understandable, but I still think we can get her. Trick is getting her without getting all of them. There she goes, making a break for the front. That's exactly how we wanted that to go. Perfect. Good girl. Hey, mellow out. It's okay. When I go after the next cow, I'm going to want to leave this gate open. So what I'm going to do with her is just put her back in the tub. If she cooperates, there's grass in there. You might want to give it a look. Oh, she knows. She knows. Atta girl. All right, no cow likes to be alone, so we want to go and get her friend kind of quick as we can. Next on the list is number 38, and she is standing right behind that post there, and she's actually in a pretty good spot for me to kind of sneak over and try to grab her. There she is there. Let's see which way you want to go. You want to turn around? Good choice. Good choice. Okay. Get it going now. Get it going. Beautiful. Good job. Oh, that was closed. All right, let's get you a friend. I know someone who wants a friend too. Right. I think I'm just going to leave this gate open so they can get back here in the tub and clean up that little bit of grass that's growing around the edges. Keep them occupied, give them something to do. But I am also going to throw some hay to them because full cows are generally happy cows, and I don't want them to be pushing on fences tonight when I'm not around. See, once they figured out there was grass in here, they really settled right down. So why are these two the lucky two that got chosen? Well, number 38, the one standing closest here to me, I think that most of you can probably take a look at her and figure out that she does not have very good body condition. Now, bad body condition alone may or may not be a reason to cull a cow, but when I consider that every other cow in the corral has the same access to feed that she does, and she looks like this and none of the other ones do, I can assume that there is some sort of a problem with her. And if that wasn't enough, I found an aborted calf out in the field a while back, and I'm pretty sure that it came out of her. So I'm about 99% sure I'm not getting a calf from her this year. So I think it's just her time to go. Now, number 23 here, as you can see, she has good body condition. She's a good, healthy looking cow, and there's really not a whole lot wrong with her other than the fact that she had her calf this year, I believe it was on June 17th. So our target date for calving is the middle of March. So that makes her very, very late for this herd. And when I look out into the calf pen, I can tell which calf is hers because it is tiny compared to all the other ones out there. That just makes her less profitable, and on a year when hay is a little bit scarce and feed is a little bit scarce, you just can't keep cows like that. In fact, there was another cow, number 4, that I think had her calf on June 1st, and she is lucky that she's not in this pen right now. I almost grabbed her, but I just decided to give her another chance. Sometimes they will catch up on their cycle, but usually not. So we'll kind of see what she does this year. If she has another late calf like that, though, I think I'll probably sell her and her calf as a pair. So there's all those reasons, and then oddly enough, these two cows have something in common, and that is that they both figured out how to walk over the cattle guard at the winter pasture. So I cannot send either one of them to the winter pasture now because of that, which makes them just a little bit more difficult to keep. Okay, girls. Okay, these two ought to be content now. They've got food, they've got water, they've got everything they could want. So the whole reason of pulling them out now, we're not going to the sale today, but I like to have them in this little corral ready to go. So in the morning, I can just run down here with the trailer and they're just ready to load. So I think we'll pick the video up when we're doing that. All right, it's the next day. Let's get the trailer hooked up and go get those cows loaded. Well, that's probably not the best trailer backup job. I got a pretty decent sized gap on the other side, but for full grown cows, this is gonna be fine. This truck is so long. I mean, the gooseneck trailer is not that long, but it's not that short either. What I would like to do eventually is extend this alleyway out and turn it a little bit so it's more of a straight shot to back the trailer up. Back in the old day, we just had a little bumper pull 16-foot and a regular cab truck, so getting in here on this angle was no problem. But with the longer stuff, it does get a little bit more difficult. Before I bring any animals up to the loading chute, I always like to walk it first. Sometimes you'll be surprised at what you see. Like in this case, if I'm a cow, I might not like to see that face right there. So besides Callie's little face there, which I don't know if they will see or not, hopefully she moves. But other than that, everything looks clear. So I think we'll go ahead and bring these girls around, get this done. All right, girls, easy does it. Easy does it. Come on. Good girls. All right, well, that went about as easy as you could hope. But I think because I've only got the 2 in here, I'll probably go ahead and shut the crowd gate. The danger being, you don't want your load to shift from the front to the back or the back to the front. It's better if they stay in one spot. When you have a full trailer, it's not an issue because obviously the trailer's full, so they can't move around. But with just 2 cows in here, they could move around. So I think we'll try to shut this crowd gate. Got the Cull cows dropped off and delivered, and that was a mostly uneventful process, which is exactly how I like it. But it kind of got me thinking about a question that I get asked from time to time, and that was about, don't I ever get attached to the animals? Aren't I sad when I have to sell them or harvest them for food? And it's really kind of a complicated issue. And I guess I'd be lying if I said it didn't bother me at all when I have to get rid of animals. The truth of the matter is, when these cows have been with me on the ranch for a while, you do kind of get a little bit attached to them, and you just kind of get used to having certain ones around. But the reality is that they can't all stay here forever. They have to go at some point, and I think that we just kind of always keep that in mind. It's not a bad thing to form a little bit of an attachment to the animal, but in the end, you kind of have to understand that they won't be here forever. After all, this is a business, and ultimately the goal here, or what we produce here, is food for people. So every time an animal leaves this ranch, ultimately it's going to end up feeding someone. So really, I guess to sum all this up, the way that I try to look at it is I don't want to reach a point where harvesting an animal or selling an animal makes me feel nothing. But I don't also want to get to a point where it affects me so deeply that I can't do it. If you're thinking about raising livestock for the first time, I think these are actually really good things to go over in your mind and consider, because they are things that you're going to have to face. Now, while I'm on the topic of answering questions that I get asked a lot, I think there are a few more that I've been getting asked a lot recently that I want to go ahead and address right now. 2 questions that I've been getting in almost every video multiple times, and they're actually related to one another, and that is, what is all the water in the background, and what kind of birds do I see and hear in the background? The water that you're seeing in the background is a flooded rice field, and while it may look like there's a ton of water there, and I guess there is, that's only a couple inches deep. The reason that the rice farmers flood their fields this time of year is to help decompose all the straw that's left over after harvest. Back in the old days, they used to burn the fields off, but they won't let them do that anymore. So they have developed a new strategy which involves flooding the fields and then running through them with a stomper, which is a huge tractor with metal wheels that kind of churns that mud up and incorporates the straw and helps it rot faster. Burning off the rice fields was certainly a lot easier, but what has ended up happening is flooding these fields has created a perfect habitat for migratory waterfowl. And in fact, a lot of guys choose to put blinds in and rent them out for people to hunt, but all of the property that's surrounding me is in a contract where he doesn't let anyone hunt, so it's basically like a seasonal refuge for these waterfowl. Another question I get asked quite frequently now since posting the video about moving the pigs is what happened to the donkeys and what happened to the goats. The goats have actually been gone for a while. I think regular viewers remember that we gave those away probably over a year ago. Our neighbors right up the road breed these miniature pygmy goats for 4-H projects, so I just ended up giving them all to them because we weren't really doing anything with the goats and they were just kind of becoming a hassle because they're getting out all the time. So I figured our neighbors could use them, maybe make some money with them, whatever. I wasn't doing anything with them and I was just ready to be rid of them. The donkeys, on the other hand, I'm not sure if I ever explained what happened with them. Some of you guys probably remember that when I first started the channel, we had 2 miniature donkeys. Over time, we decided to get rid of one because they were both intact males and they would just fight each other all the time, non-stop, and it was brutal fighting too. Both of the donkeys were covered in scars, and you know, after a while it just kind of seemed like the wrong thing to do to keep them together like that because they just would not stop fighting. I figured if we left them together long enough that they would eventually sort it out, because that's what almost every other kind of animal does. Dogs, cattle, and you name it. They fight once, get it figured out, and then it's over. Well, donkeys are not wired that way. They fight once and then they just keep fighting. So we got rid of the first one. I ended up selling him to a guy, a friend of a friend, and he ended up going up the mountain to, I think he was run with some cattle or some calves, I'm not really sure, but they had a job for him, and that's what he ended up doing. So then we were down to 1 donkey, which initially felt like the right decision because his wounds started to heal up and he started to look a lot better. But what we noticed was that you could just tell that he was unhappy being out there by himself. I mean, these are herd animals. They want to be with other animals. I didn't really want to bring him here to the ranch because I wasn't sure how he would behave with the calves, and if we're just going to have him out here with the cows, then what was really the point of having him at all? I sold him to a friend of mine that owns a business where they use these miniature donkeys at weddings and parties and events like that, and they put pack saddles on them to load them up with drinks or whatever else they're serving the guests, and they use the miniature donkeys to carry the refreshments out to the people at the party, and that's what their business is. So he has a job now, kind of not where I thought he would end up, but I think he's gonna actually do pretty good there. So hopefully that clears all that up now. As always, if you have any other questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to get to them. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.